Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the Real America's Voice family.
God bless Real America's Voice.
So don't wait. Scan the QR code right now or visit realamericasvoice.launchcart.store to shop today.
Thank you, Real America's Voice, for doing true journalism.
Stand tall, be bold, be proud. Represent your voice with Real America's Voice.
It's good to have a real news network out there, so I'm a big fan.
Use code RAVSWAG10 for 10% off.
Real America's Voice rocks.
News break. I'm Terrence Bates. Women going through menopause often deal with the emotional challenges that come along with their bodies changing. However, the physical changes can be just as difficult. And that's where Energized Health may be able to help you out.
When I went through menopause, my whole body changed and went crazy, and I haven't been able to feel great. I used to feel sluggish all the time. I was like, oh, I just want to take a nap. I want to go to sleep. Now I'm always energized. Like the inches just disappeared and the clothes is falling off and I'm losing the weight and I feel fabulous. But no, I feel great. Thank you for this program. It's an amazing program and it's for life now.
John Jubilee from Energized Health is here to explain how you may be able to realize similar results as that lady there. John, good morning.
Morning, Terrence.
All right, so how do we start the process? How do we reverse menopause, if you will? Not that me as a guy that I would be dealing with it, but there are some women listening to us right now who would like to know the secret.
Well, I'll tell you what, interesting you say that, Terrence. We don't as men go through menopause, but as men, what can happen is our testosterone, it just tanks. So it starts dropping, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 points as we go through life. So I'll just give some hope to the men here on two fronts. So number one, for men, I just want to tell you, we just had another gentleman, 67 years old, last Tuesday. He got his checkup and his doctor said, oh, I didn't know you started testosterone therapy. He said, well, I didn't. He said, well, your testosterone is up 200 points. And he said, well, what'd you do to get your testosterone up 200 points? He said, man, I'm doing this Energized Health protocol. So men, the man version of menopause is the low testosterone, where we lose all that. We lose our sex drive and our energy. Then for the ladies, of course, you got the night sweats going on when you're going through your menopause. You got night sweats. You got those hot flashes, which is like torture. And for the men, can I tell you, please encourage your wife during that. You know what? She has not been abducted by an alien. Those are real physiological things that are going through your wife. It's just you don't recognize her because they are so dramatic of what's happening. But take hope from what you saw from this woman. You know what, Terrence, I was part of a medical study with 130 women that I had. Every one of them got back their sex drive, got back their energy. They lost that weight that they couldn't lose. They lost their hot flashes. They got back their mojo. And their husband said, oh my gosh, haven't seen that woman for 20 years running around my house. Thank you, Energized Health.
You had me at, you know what, I won't even go there. I think you know where I would have gone. But let's talk about how reversible this is. How does one start this process of trying to reverse menopause or even low testosterone for the men?
Look, guys, it's so easy. It just starts with a phone call. You just have to take your first action step and talk to someone who has your answer. So when you have a problem, you need an answer. And so at Energized Health, we make it so easy. All you have to do is book a call. It's a no obligation call. It's totally free. You know, you just have to go on a website, hit your book a call, and then take your call. And when you're on that call, you're going to talk to someone. Everyone at Energized Health was a client first. Some of them are 20 and 30-year nurses that quit nursing after they had their personal health miracle through Energized Health. So all you have to do is reach out and make a call.
So you stand by this. You're saying that people can start your protocol and that they can begin the process, at very least begin the process of reversing their menopause or their low testosterone and getting their lives back on track to what they were 10, 15, 20 years ago.
We have helped thousands of women and men get back their full sex drive, their full healthy sex life, their full energy, their full mojo, and you can have it too if you'll do what they did.
All right, and folks, all you have to do is go to the website there at the bottom of your screen. You see it there, energizedhealth.com. Log on, get all the information that you need. And as you just heard John say, at least schedule your first call. It's free of charge. Get some more information. And if you decide you want to start the process, then you can go ahead and do it there. Well, that's going to do it for us here on Real America's Voice. We appreciate you being here with us for this news break. Now, let's get you back to your regularly scheduled programming.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but...
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off,
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet.
This isn't a problem created by the Trump administration or by ICE or DHS. This is a problem created by the Democrats, and they are the ones sustaining it. Governor Tim Walz has graded his state's residents into causing good trouble for ICE agents. Pushed them. And Alex Preddy's death is a result of that, a result of these sanctuary city policies and state leaders who are using their own citizens as pawns in a fight for more power and to hide the massive fraud, of course, stealing billions of dollars in taxpayer money. Let's take a look at the statistics. There are 9 counties, you might want to keep track of this. There are 9 counties that account for 2/3 of violent confrontations with ICE in America. Just 9 out of over 3,000. A violent confrontation in these 9 counties was 590 times more likely than any of these other 3,134 counties. 590 times more likely. And all 9 counties are sanctuary jurisdictions run by Democrat politicians that resist immigration law enforcement. That is a fact. Minneapolis is a breeding ground for these violent confrontations. It's not organic, by the way. It's thanks to some very dishonest and incendiary messaging from leaders and from very well organized and very well funded resistance groups like ICE Watch. Where does that money come from? We'll get to that too. What's happening in Minneapolis isn't just some grassroots protesting. It's a funded and well-trained insurgency. Use that word. These are insurrectionists. These are anarchists. These are Antifa. These people have comms, logistics, and a lot of organization. Watch this.
To you?
I say it definitely does feel organized to me, and I think you can tell these people are well connected. They are in communication with each other, and they are giving them instructions. This happened all so quickly. People knew where to go, and they are taking commands. This is an organized movement here. There's communication, there's food, there's notices, there's notifications. They got out here in a hurry, and they outnumber this police force probably by about 10 to 1 at this point.
They've got signal groups all over the internet now, complete with vetting processes for new members and time deletions and rotations to bury evidence. Members of these chats are being given dedicated roles, chasing cars, checking license plates, logging vehicle data, and the list goes on. All to impede law enforcement from taking criminals off our streets. Cam Higbee, congratulations to him for finding all of this information. And that's what Alex Preddy was caught up in. He was part of his neighborhood's ICE Watch with the express purpose of impeding law enforcement, interfering, whatever it took, which, in case you didn't know, is a crime. And it becomes an even more serious crime if you're armed while doing it. Alex Preddy was licensed to carry, good for him. But he would have learned his concealed carry class that it's never legal to commit a crime while armed. It's actually just more illegal and more dangerous. I see people on the internet trying to make a point that this is what the Second Amendment is for, fighting tyranny. But listen closely. Blocking or interfering with the enforcement of existing federal immigration laws isn't resisting tyranny. It's opposing federal laws that were enacted through the democratic process by way of the Constitution and that a president campaigned on upholding. Donald Trump explicitly ran on a platform of strictly enforcing immigration statutes, including deportations. The fact that certain local communities or groups like some in Minneapolis might disagree with those policies or didn't support the candidate who promised them doesn't make the laws any less valid or any less binding nationwide. Federal laws still apply everywhere, and obstructing their enforcement isn't heroic. It's actually going against the expressed will of the people, and it's obviously hypocrisy. Because during Barack Obama's presidency, his administration carried out millions of deportations through ICE, more than 5 million. He was called the deporter-in-chief from immigrant advocacy groups, something that he didn't campaign on. But Minneapolis didn't catch on fire those days, now did it? So why now? In part because Orange Man Bad Cult But I suspect that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey are enjoying all the distraction from the fraud that they've enabled. Here's DHS Secretary Kristi Noem pointing out that exact fact.
These are not just agitators anymore, they're violent protests. In fact, the state and the city of Minneapolis abandoned this area in downtown Minneapolis because they couldn't control the situation by the amount of people that have come in just trying to disrupt and impede law enforcement operations. And, you know, frankly, this didn't turn violent until we uncovered the fraud in Minneapolis. We were there, ICE and CBP have been there and operating for years in Minneapolis. Taxpayers under the leadership of Governor Walz and Mayor Frey.
Yeah. It's turned violent because Walz and Frey have been giving these agitators, these anarchists, these violent protesters the green light and the clearance to go ahead. We'll have more after the break. Good morning and welcome to it. It is the Steve Gruber Show.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but...
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off, Max.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice. Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the Real America's Voice family.
God bless Real America's Voice.
So don't wait. Scan the QR code right now or visit realamericasvoice.launchcart.store to shop today.
Thank you, Real America's Voice, for doing true journalism.
Stand tall, be bold, be proud. Represent your voice with Real America's Voice.
It's good to have a real news network out there, so I'm a big fan.
Use code RAVSWAG10 for 10% off.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Hi, I'm Chris from Illinois. We like to watch Real America's Voice in the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon for all the great guests. Everyone from Kerry Lake, the great Frank Gaffney, Trump coming for retribution.
This is Rashad from Boston, Massachusetts, and I love Real America's Voice. It is the best place for real news and content. Much love.
I'm Andy M., and I love Real America's Voice, where my voice counts and your voice counts. That is America's Voice.
Here's something Vice President J.D. Vance wrote on X. They quote, a couple of off-duty ICE and CBP officers were going to dinner in Minneapolis. They were doxxed, their location revealed, and the restaurant was then mobbed. The officers were locked in the restaurant, and local police refused to respond to their pleas for help, as they have been directed to do by local authorities, including the chief of police in Minneapolis. He is an embarrassment. Vance hit the nail on the head when he continues, quote, this is just a taste of what's happening in Minneapolis because state and local officials refuse to cooperate with immigration enforcement. They've created the chaos so they can have moments like yesterday where someone tragically dies and politicians get to grandstand about the evils of enforcing the border. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has his own story about Minnesota's willful negligence. Listen to this.
Jonathan, it's a tragedy when anyone dies, but I can tell you the situation on the ground there is being stirred up by Governor Walz. I was out there 2 weeks ago. Governor Walz declined to provide a security detail for me to go into the Minnesota Capitol with the state police. So he is fomenting chaos because there is substantial waste, fraud, and abuse. My job as Treasury Secretary is to investigate that. And I think that this chaos that's going out there, and again, I am sorry that this gentleman is dead, but he did bring a 9mm semi-automatic weapon with 2 cartridges to what was supposed to be a peaceful protest. I think that there are a lot of paid agitators who are ginning things up, and the governor has not done a good job at tamping this down.
Not at all. Tim Walz, worst governor in America. Like I said, this isn't a problem created by ICE or the Trump administration, because ICE is operating all over the country, not just in Minneapolis. People want to point fingers at the ICE agents, but we're not seeing altercations like this in red states or even in blue states. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche points that out here.
I'm very confused about why the conversation is about what you're talking about instead of focusing on what really matters, which is why in one city, in one place do we have these problems. We deport 10 times the number of illegal aliens out of Texas than we do out of Minneapolis. Why do we hear nothing out of Texas about any of the same problems that we have in Minneapolis? I'll tell you why. Because in Texas, we have the cooperation and support of local law enforcement so that we can do these operations safely, keeping U.S. citizens and others protected and safe. That is not what we have in Minneapolis. And the fact that it's the administration that's being blamed for the utter failure of leadership in Minneapolis is not right. It's not appropriate.
But are you saying those officers?
It is literally in everyone's interests, except the criminals, of course, for all politicians, Democrats, Republicans, independents alike, to condemn what's happening in Minneapolis, to be honest about the good work that ICE and DHS do now and have for years. But instead, Democrats are committing to a very familiar talking point, and that is defund the police, defund law enforcement. It was the worst idea ever, but they just can't seem to get away from it. Listen again.
My last question, will it be worth it if Senate Democrats vote down the funding of ICE and therefore create a partial government shutdown as soon as the end of this week?
Yes. The House Democrats, we overwhelmingly voted for that. Last week, the Senate Democrats should absolutely follow us because we need to make a powerful nationwide statement that the current situation is intolerable.
Well, I'm not giving ICE or Border Patrol another dime, given how these agencies are operating.
And I think that we should not be giving a dime more to ICE or CBP unless we have significant guardrails and accountability.
So my view is there has to be dramatic change. I don't foresee this administration doing that at this moment. So I'm saying I won't provide any funding.
Yeah, that's right. After causing the longest government shutdown in U.S. history just a few weeks ago, Democrats are willing to do it again and grandstand against funding law enforcement, specifically ICE and Customs and Border Patrol. Democrats had previously tried to distance themselves from the defund the police narrative because they know it's deeply unpopular with millions of Americans. But with Minneapolis dominating the airwaves, Democrats are now, well, they're showing their true colors, backing defund ICE. It's the same thing all over again, and it's just as ridiculous now as it was then. they're going to trigger another government shutdown over something that harms the American people. And it's going to be the same song and dance because Trump is not going to back down on this either. If Trump were to hit the brakes on ICE operations in Minneapolis, the left would treat it as a massive win. And it wouldn't stop there. It would spread. It would send a message nationwide that immigration enforcement can be bullied into submission. Once they see that protests and chaos can shut down ICE in one city, they'll try it everywhere. At that point, it's not the law or voters calling the shots. It's the mob rules. The mob deciding what rules matter and which elections they're going to ignore. And this is a mob I won't be listening to. I won't be taking a lesson on empathy and morality from a group of people who cheered when my friend Charlie Kirk took a shot to the neck in front of thousands of people and was executed in public. And neither should you. What if those who were once called conspiracy theorists turn out to be right again? A new study by Korean doctors claimed that COVID vaccines raise the risk of 6 cancers, including lung, breast, and prostate. Researchers analyzed health records for more than 8.4 million adults between 2021 and 2023, and their findings were published in Biomarker Research, a respected scientific journal. Critics dismiss it, of course, but the data raises concern that spike protein exposure may be tied to long-term health risks. Dr. Peter McCullough has been aware of this since 2020, which is why he collaborated with a wellness company to create the ultimate spike detox, designed to help your body clear spike proteins, reduce inflammation, and support heart health. With natural ingredients like nattokinase, dandelion root, and bromelain, it is your daily proactive defense from a man-made virus. Don't wait until symptoms strike or something unexpected happens. Experience the only formula approved and used by Dr. McCullough, one of the top doctors who risked it all. Just go to twc.health/Gruber. Use the promo code Gruber. You're going to get 10% off and free shipping. We use that every day here. We use that product every day. twc.health/Gruber. Promo code Gruber gets you 10% off and free shipping today. Do not wait. I'll be right back.
Exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history.
All right, so I guess another big storm is headed our way. At least that's what's developing right now. I'm not sure it's going to be as big as last week, but we're watching this because it's a big deal. A very big deal, in fact. And right now, every year they say the same thing going into winter. Every year, NOAA says the same thing. Ice cover on the Great Lakes is disappearing. Of course it's not. In fact, a couple of years back, I'm not sure which year it was exactly, there was a winter when about 98% of the lakes froze. It was almost an all-time record. Currently, Great Lakes frozen at 43%. 43% ice cover on the Great Lakes. Lake Erie is frozen solid and has been for a while now. If you like to ice fish, man, there it is. The walleye factory of the world. The walleye factory of the world. Personally, I don't ice fish. I can't drink that much. Ice fishermen are a different breed. I'll just tell you that. Remember grumpy old men? Yeah, a lot of truth to that. But Lake Erie is great from Toledo to Cleveland. Lake St. Clair outside of Detroit. Lake St. Clair outside of Detroit. Frozen solid. You can catch a muskie there, or walleye, or bass, or even a sturgeon. Got to put it back. You can't target sturgeon, but it's all there. So if you're an ice fisherman, good news. The lakes are freezing all around Marquette, Duluth, Minnesota, elsewhere. Great ice conditions, great winter conditions. If you like winter, it's going well here. Not so much in the western United States. They have no snowpack to speak of in the Rocky Mountains. Kind of a strange year. We're getting all the snow, all the ice, all the winter, and they're having a dry winter, which isn't good, by the way. Ice pack and winter snowpack, really critical to what happens for the rest of the year. A new year doesn't need to mean extreme diets or complicated routines. It needs consistency. Longevity Wellness helps you build that habit with one clean, all-in-one nutritional shake that supports strength, focus, digestion, and immune health. It's smart nutrition you can actually stick with. Start strong today. We use it every day in this house. LongevityWellness.co. Use the promo code Gruber for a special listener discount of 25% off. That's Gruber, LongevityWellness.co. And if you get a subscription, you'll save even more money. You're going to thank me later and send me an email when you do. I'll take a break and be right back. It is The Steve Gruber Show.
Exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted.
Seditious conspiracy.
But behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now. Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rav has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with Rav. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in, be counted, be heard. Together, we are Rav.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just getting.
All right, here's your question. Is Christian Zionism a harmful and damaging ideology? To listen to those on the left is a horrible thing. Get rid of the Zionists. Attack Christian churches. It happens about 8 times a week in this country, if you didn't know. More than 400 incidents in 2025. Jonathan Feldstein is the founder and president of the Genesis 123 Foundation. He joins me now. Jonathan, thank you for being here.
Good morning and good afternoon, Steve. It's good to see you again.
Let me pose the question to you. Is Christian Zionism a harmful and damaging ideology? That's what those on the left would have you believe in 2026. What are your thoughts?
Well, remember, I'm an Orthodox Jew, so it's not appropriate to some degree for me to posit on what's theologically appropriate in Christianity. But the short answer is no. Christian Zionism, from my understanding and from every biblical read, is actual biblical reality. We did a webinar a week ago posing this question with a panel of experts, and the short answer is that God himself was a Zionist, and that's played out in Scripture. And we have to remember that Jesus, who was born a few miles from where I'm talking to you right now, and lived here in the land of Israel, he was a Jewish Zionist. So no, there's no theological problem, and nor is it a dangerous and damaging ideology. In fact, it's from my perspective, the fullest expression of Christianity.
So why is there this sudden surge in anti-Jewish sentiment, anti-Semitic behavior, targeting of Christian churches? Is this just another symptom of the full-out attack on Western thinking and Western culture? Because that's the way it seems to me. You've got anarchists and Antifa and agitators that don't seem well educated, to be honest, attacking every foundational principle of this country and of all Western nations. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. It is the foundational principle of the United States. The Judeo-Christian values, we refer to it. These are biblical values. The one thing that I don't think is that we're seeing necessarily an increase of this anti-Jewish and anti-Christian expression. I think what we're seeing, and you said it so well in the introduction, Steve, is we're seeing an increase in the permissiveness of this. 10 years ago, this wouldn't have been permissive. 15 years ago, we wouldn't have thought that churches would be attacked like this, that synagogues, that people couldn't even go to a Jewish event in their own synagogue without being hassled, much less campuses shut down. And we're seeing the permissiveness of this, which I think is becoming kind of like a rolling stone. It just picks up more momentum, and that's got to get shut down.
So how do people like you and me and those listening push back against this? It seems that too many government agencies at state levels certainly are not interested in defending or protecting the synagogue or the church. Again, 8 incidents a week in this country, primarily against Christian institutions, but also against synagogues. Anti-Semitic behavior, as we witnessed during 2024, was out of control. Jews on campuses were held up in libraries and other places, barricaded in to protect themselves from raging mobs. This is not okay in America. I don't care what your religion is. This is not okay for people to live in fear, to be in fear just because they're a Jew on a university campus. That's not okay, is it?
None of it's okay. None of it's okay that people can't express themselves freely. We have the First Amendment, and that's enshrined, and it allows horrible speech. But thank God for that, because the founders understood that people should be able to speak freely. But we also have the Second Amendment, and I'm suggesting that the Second Amendment, what we need is a Second Amendment of truth. We need to be armed with truth. If we're going to counteract the vile lies which are ensconced in the Constitution, and then we need to be armed with truth. And that's where you come in. That's where the Genesis 123 Foundation, which I have the privilege of being head of at Genesis123.co, bringing Jews and Christians together in all of those very pivotal things, foundational things that we share in common to express truth. And unfortunately, here, we're celebrating here in Israel today because the last hostage was finally brought home, albeit that he was brought home in a body bag. He was brought home yesterday, but the last 2 years and 4 months has been an assault on the truth. And what we need to do is arm ourselves, just like in the Second Amendment, with truth and counteract the lies.
Yeah. It seems that there are too many in government, all too willing to look the other way, all too willing to try to rationalize these ideas that somehow pro-Palestinian protesters have rights and those that disagree or have a different point of view have no rights at all. Oh, I see that as a result of that, some universities lost funding in different places. Financial pressure is a good step, but what about the police departments that allowed students to be blocked into libraries and elsewhere? What about police departments in Minneapolis who stand down and let federal agents be assaulted and put themselves in harm's way? That only happens in Minneapolis, by the way, but these other incidents have happened across the nation. And then you look at Europe. You talk about free speech and so forth. There is no free speech in Europe anymore. You can be arrested if you put up a pro-Jewish post on Facebook. You can be arrested in the middle of the night because it's offensive comment to somebody. You can be stopped. You can be frisked. You can be put in jail for your opinion in Europe while they flood themselves with people from outside their continent into country after country. Is Europe even Europe anymore?
I was just going to say, Steve, Americans need to look at Europe and say, if we're not real careful, America, I'm so proud as an American citizen celebrating 250 years, but it's shocking to imagine that in our 250th year that we can witness the devolution, devolving, I guess is the word, of America the same way that's happened in Europe. Europe is not what it used to be, and I don't know that it ever will be again. And that's scary on a whole host of levels. But if it's gone, if Europe will never be the same again, and it's not just expressing truth and expressing pro-Israel, pro-Jewish, and pro-Christian sentiments in Europe, it's also expressing anything that would be, God forbid, an offense to Islam or their prophet or their God. And, you and I can say that here now, but in Europe, you'll have a fatwa against you and a death sentence. And we need to push back. We just have to push back because Europe is the canary in the coal mine for what America can become.
And Jonathan, we must continue to talk about it here on programs like this one, where we do on a very regular basis. I appreciate you being here and putting light on the truth. And the truth is, we cannot be victims. We must stand up, be bold. There could be a price to pay, and there certainly will be, but we've been there before, too. Jonathan, thank you.
God bless you, Steve. Good to see you.
God bless you. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, are you protected in your own home? Are you protected in your own home? That is the question that I'll pose to my next guest. I'll be right back. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Nice to see you on a Tuesday.
Exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted.
Seditious conspiracy.
But behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. they found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now. Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
Everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rav has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with Rav. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in, be counted, be heard. Together, we are Rav.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just getting.
Welcome back to the program. You know, it's a new year, but some of the old scams continue. They just seem to get refined and redone so they can work again for another year or two or three. One of those is the theft of your home. Now, I know some of you don't really take this too seriously, but I want to share a story with you. The story of a woman who was disabled, who was taken advantage of, whose home was stolen right out from under her. Not literally, but the equity. Listen to this story.
HNN investigates how the family of a disabled Waianae woman lost hundreds of thousands of dollars to a forged deed scheme. It's just one example of people getting ripped off by title theft, Daryl Huff reports.
Betsy and her husband lived here on this 1-acre lot in Waianae until he died and she was disabled by Alzheimer's and dementia. Family members rushed to sell the property to generate money for her care. But sadly, the title thief got there first.
The title thief got there first. That's in the state of Hawaii. Join me now, Natalie Dominguez, the title theft education specialist for Home Title Lock. Natalie, nice to see you again. Sorry to start the new year with such a downer of a story, but look, if you don't protect yourself and one of your loved ones needs money and all of a sudden you find out the hard way, there's no money there because somebody scammed your mom or your grandmother. Wow, what a horrible lesson to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, Steve, someone's home is usually it's the biggest investment you'll ever make, right? Being a property owner. And it becomes harder and harder to do that regardless nowadays. And a lot of people look forward to being able to utilize the equity that they have put into their home over time for, you know, very tragic situations like this disabled woman, Betsy, her husband passed away. The family's trying to figure out how to care for her because she has Alzheimer's. And, you know, the sale of the home and having that extra equity in those funds for her care, you know, without being able to do that, they're losing all of that capacity to care for her in the correct way, right? And this is the scariest part about this crime, is that it took 16 days after the family gained the legal guardianship to sell the home. The criminal had already come in, done the fraud transfer, and then was going about trying to utilize its equity.
Right. You know, and here's the thing. Police are not very familiar with this. So when you go to the police, hey, this has happened, they'll say, well, that's a civil matter. It is a criminal matter. But sometimes telling the police that, explaining the situation, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. You know, prevention's a heck of a lot more effective. But the police, they may or may not help you.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened in this situation. The family saw the fraud, realized that they were no longer on the title, went and filed a police report, and the police came back and said, hey, this isn't criminal. Now, we know that it's criminal, but in many areas of the country, and most areas of the country, the biggest place where there actually is a law on the books is New York City, ironically, where all the fraud is happening. But in places like this, no, it's not always criminal. You have to prove the fraud, you have to get it reversed, you have to go through a very long civil process. And during, I think this was over, months to years, the family had actually gone through trying to stop the sale from this fraudulent owner, and couldn't end up doing it. They ended up actually selling the home to an investment buyer. And so the family had to go through this whole process for years to try to get it unwound.
And I know there's people listening right now and they're going, wait a second, it can't be that easy. The government's got to verify signatures, look at IDs, this and that. Look, you're trusting the government. And to be honest with you, they don't really do much due diligence. They just say, oh, there's the paper, there it is. They shift it through. There's not really a lot of background work done by the government. They assume that the documents are valid on their face, right?
Absolutely. And again, in this case, that's exactly what happened. When they looked over the fraudulent paperwork, there was a notary stamp, there was a notary signature. When they followed up with the notary that this stamp belonged to, the notary said, I didn't do this. This wasn't me. This isn't my signature. I didn't verify this. But the conveyance's office took it anyway, because legally, as long as everything is filled out properly, they don't have to actually verify anything. The most a county or the conveyance's office like this is going to look at is possibly an ID, which is extremely easy to fake.
So in this particular case, this family hoped to get somewhere around $600,000, $700,000. But during this interim period, when they had been taken advantage of, when they had been the victims of theft, another company came in, and I don't blame this company, a finance company out of Texas came in and bought the property at cut rate $350,000. That's terrible.
Yeah. So they lost all of that long term. The family had the house for a very, very long time. They lost everything. And I think after a few years, they had kind of gone through a process where they were able to settle with the company that purchased it, because they had warned the company that this was a fraudulent seller, and the company purchased it anyway, which is very scary. And Scott Midiyoshi, I think is his name. He's the consumer protection chair, and he's an attorney. He said in an interview in Hawaii that there are companies that will go through the sale even knowing the seller is fraudulent, because they stand to make more money in the aftermath than settling, if they even get to that point.
So real quickly, we got about a minute left here. Tell the folks about Home Title Lock. This is why your company was established, to prevent this sort of family tragedy from happening. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So Home Title Lock, we have our $1 million triple lock protection. What that means is you get monitoring, alerts of your property title. We watch for any changes that are being made, but the most important part is our restoration. That's the third lock. What we do is we jump in and we take over for the homeowner and start the legal process in your county, in your state, specific to the laws there, so that you don't have to do anything. So instead of going to the police and them telling you, you have no recourse, we do everything for you. So you don't have to do anything, and we cover all of the costs involved.
So there you have it. My suggestion, start off the new year right with peace of mind, knowing your home is protected, that investment, no matter what the future might hold, that investment, at least you've got that to count on. Natalie, always nice to see you. Happy New Year.
Thanks, Steve. You guys too.
Greatly appreciate it. Look, HomeTitleLock.com. Promo code Gruber. You're going to save some money on it today as well. HomeTitleLock.com. Don't be one of these stories that we have to tell here about a family losing everything or not being able to take care of mom or grandma. Don't let that happen. HomeTitleLock.com. Promo code Gruber. I'll take a break and be right back.
Exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol, They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted,
Seditious conspiracy.
but behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now. Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
Everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rav has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news.
I want to give a shout out to Nick Baumgartner. I don't know Nick, but I know of Nick. He's a Youper from Michigan's Upper Peninsula. He's a Youper. Won a gold medal in the Winter Olympics last time around. Yeah, gold medalist in snowboarding, right? Well, guess what? He's going again. He just qualified for his 5th Winter Olympics. He's 44 years old and out there competing with the kids that are less than half his age and doing it with, gusto, to say the least. If you think you're too old, just look around. You're not too old. 44 years old in his 5th Winter Olympics, making it happen. And again, he is the oldest Olympic qualifier for 2026 and the oldest U.S. Olympic snowboarder ever, of course, and a gold medalist from the last time around. Pretty cool stuff. I tip my hat to Nick just for staying in the fight, man. What if he does it when he's 48? What does he think? He's Tom Brady? I mean, wow. Anyhow, he probably has some aches and pains. If you're dealing with aches and pain or everyday discomfort, it's time to check out Patriot's Relief. Right now, they're offering 46% off site-wide all week. Just use the promo code Gruber, Real Relief at a serious discount. Even better, free shipping, so there's nothing holding you back. Don't guess, don't wait, get relief that works. Go on over to patriotsrelief.com. Use the promo code Gruber. You're going to save 46% all week. I can't give you a better deal than that. These are first-class, America-first CBD products. Stress, anxiety, sleep issues, and yes, aches and pains. Topicals, gummies, all of it. 46% all week at patriotsrelief.com. Promo code is Gruber. A new survey shows all-time high support for religious freedom. We'll talk about that in the next hour here. And then Steve Bucci will say, look, Donald Trump needs to deal with Nigeria, and soon. Why is that? We'll talk about that as well coming up in the next hour. Follow me on all the social media platforms. Subscribe on YouTube. You'll get a lot of benefit from that and so much more. I'll be right back. It's the Steve Gruber Show.
exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted,
Seditious